Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Kennesaw State Owls Dynasty here on College Football 25. Today we're going to embark on the year one off season, and I'm super excited for that. For those who followed my Marquette Dynasty, you know that offseason is my favorite aspect of this game. The team building is definitely the best part, and we really haven't been able to do much, obviously, here through just one season. But now we get a chance to finally put our stamp, our own little spin on this team and bring in our own players, our own talent. As we do sim ahead here, we leave behind year one officially. We see here a lot of players at risk of transferring. Adam Watkins, Tylen Dunlap, Aaron Hopson, Jericho Washington there, you see for playing style. And all those guys, 4 starters on defense. And then we go down here, players at risk with that D+ pro potential, which actually did drop at season's end. Jamar Rux there, rotational D end. Definitely an impact player on defense. And then Dansby there at free safety, a freshman who I expect to kind of inherit a larger role on our team this year, assuming all these guys stay. So we certainly have, we only have 4 commits right now in our debut recruiting class, and now a few guys who might even depart and play elsewhere next year. But first we'll see, moment of truth, players leaving, and look at that, all of them transferring. In addition, a freshman corner here, Terrence Curtis, Ethan O'Leary, a free safety who kind of got in the mix last year. I thought Dansby was a freshman. Turns out he's only a junior, so it doesn't hurt as much. But look at this. We're losing a bunch of guys here to transfers. Jericho Washington, pound for pound, might have been the best player on this team. Baron Hopson was a starter at linebacker. Tylen Dunlap, Jamar Rux, I talked about just moments ago. And that's kind of a shell shock. I don't know how we're going to recover from this. I already said it was very slim, our roster, our talent, and now we lose a bunch of key pieces. We go down to graduations. Jacob Kettle started a few games at right tackle. Michael Benefield led our team in rushing. Preston Daniels had a good closing game to his career, although he was always just a blocking guy for us. Jalen Barnum, a reserve linebacker. And Josiah Clemens, I don't think we even had him on offense for a single snap. So I'm very kind of blindsided here. I knew a couple would transfer away, but I did not expect this huge haul. I mean, we do have 2 persuasions, but it even says there's no chance of persuading them to return. But I mean, might as well give it a shot. Failed there on Jericho Washington. And then if I had to pick somebody else, probably would go thinking O'Leary, although he's only a 66 compared to Dunlap. Dunlap was a very good player for us. Let's see, that's a D+. Okay, so playing style. Hopson and Washington, even though they're C+, they still transfer away, which I don't really understand. So if we're going to sway somebody, it probably would be for playing style, so I guess we'll try. Dunlap failed, so that is very, very, like I said, blindside, shell-shocked, disappointing. You can't really describe how much that sets us back. I mean, not that it's super monumental, but it's just the state of this roster. We inherited the lowest rated team in the game as we have a few guys transfer away. Definitely going to monitor them. We do keep Adam Watkins, which is pretty good. Our starting D tackle had a scoop and score there in that last game, but our defense diminished a little bit here as we get to the transfer portal, offseason recruiting, draft results, and also upgrade coach skills. We do have 20 points. I was going to just leave those for next season, but I mean, you might as well pour them into recruiting. And I think we just got to go heavy on the defensive side of the ball, especially when we just saw what developed there. That is absolutely wild. It makes it tough. I call this a rebuild, I guess, but it's not even a rebuild because in order to rebuild something, it had to have been built in the first place. And Kennesaw State, a fresh program here in the FBS, really not much program history. So kind of, if you want to think of it maybe as like an expansion team in pro sports, that's like the best comparison I can kind of give what we're working with here. And we might take a step back next year. 3 wins this past season, but that was a big development which just happened. So we'll just go DBs here, and then we can go and just even all these out and get to level 2 in recruiter for defensive line, linebackers, and secondary. As you see there, Josh Terry, our offensive coordinator, Jared Ellsworth, F Prestige. Same there with Alex Gary, F Prestige as well. We're just going to stick with the same coordinators going into next year, maybe build some continuity or at least try to, and then we'll kind of revisit at this time next season. But with that, we're set to jump into our first transfer portal, our first offseason recruiting stage here in this dynasty. We have 525 hours to work with. And there's Javon Malik, very close to committing. I mean, that bar is almost maxed out, so I don't think we're going to have to really do too much with him. I don't even think it's really necessary to schedule a visit with him, although, I mean, we might as well. We'll see how many points we're working with, though. Stephon Andrews, Kurt Bowler are 2 linemen we're hoping to bring in this class. Marquez Stevens, hoping to bring in him along with, we had another D-end here. Tyler Anger, a gem D-end, or athlete, but going to play D-end out of Deerfield Beach, Florida. Very good profile there with the 89 strength, 83 speed. I won't get too much into the guys we already have committed. I'll save that maybe for the end of this process, and then we'll kind of revisit our whole recruiting class as a whole once we get some more signings in this process. But there's Devon Stanzi, going to be a quarterback for us, athlete, 5'11", 211, with that gem tag along here with Anger. And Rudy Torreya, D tackle with that gem tag. So we did lose a D end, but we get one back already in Tyler Anger, who could probably step in right away and be an impact player for us. Torreya, same thing there on the inside, even though we did bring back Adam Watkins, Steve Biquette, a slot corner. Doesn't have a gem tag, but we definitely need some corners, some DBs in this class. So we'll go back up to the top here and look at our guys that we were pursuing. Stevens, we hope to bring him, as I said. Monty Sahara, we don't have a receiver signed yet in this class, but I think Sahara is going to be a good player. Again, has that gem tag coming out of a JUCO. And for those watching, I haven't really done many off seasons in this game, obviously in this series with this Kennesaw State Dynasty. This is my first one, so give me some patience here as we kind of assemble this off-season recruiting strategy. Of course, we still have to look into the transfer portal as well. Bowler is just, super close to signing. I think just maybe 5 more points there should do the trick. Stevens, like we did with Andrews, just pour 10 in. Monty Sahara, a little bit further down than the other guys, so maybe we'll just go 15 for Sahara. And of course, we might alter this as we add some guys from the transfer portal. So Fatini Taj Fat, he's another guy that we have not visited with yet, but I don't think that's really necessary to burn those 40 points, so we'll just throw 10 on him for now. Can always visit him later. Jermichael Broham, a tight end I kind of talked about a couple episodes ago. Nothing special at all, but I was going to say no glaring weaknesses, although he really doesn't offer much as a blocker, so definitely does fit that tendency of possession tight end. Only really need 1 tight end in this class. He's nothing special. We'll just go 5. Maybe there might be better options in the transfer portal. Demetrius Boone, someone else we haven't visited with, but kind of pulling away on his recruitment. Just throw 10 in for now. Michael Pettigrew, another linebacker. And so what we did lose Hobson, so we already wanted to bring in, let me get my cheat sheet out here. We already wanted to bring in 2 linebackers in this class. So maybe we want to even add another here along with Pettigrew and Fatinikun. And then we did want to bring in one of these safeties. I remember noting that I did like Suarez a little bit more than Omame, but 86 speed is kind of worrisome, but only 62 zones. So, I mean, ideally we get upgrades at safety. So we're just going to hold off on those guys for now. Who else did we have? Let's take these guys off. We weren't even really pursuing these guys. 2 quarterbacks there, Christie and then Ray Figueroa to NIU. Manny Ankara goes to UAB. James Flanagan to ECU. We lost a few recruits to ECU. And we have some guys here, corners, that we have on the board but didn't even scout. Both of them pretty open. Actually, Mississippi State looks like they're pulling away here with Hayden, but Zeke Shockey, should we scout him a little bit? 93 speed, 90 change of direction. So the athletics are pretty good with 76 press. You like that. And he does turn into a gem, so 80 man, you like that. 71 catching. Has winning time and road dog mentals. I'm still kind of getting acclimated with the mentals and the abilities and all that. I'm not really sure. I know some of them you have to reach a certain rating, I think, in a certain skill in order for it to be unlocked. So with that, Opelika, Florida, Zeke Shockey, the 125th corner on the board. Definitely going to go ahead and offer him a scholarship. And we are going to contact him. We'll go with 35 here for Zeke Shockey. And we'll move him on up. So with that, we have Shockey and Malik now at the top of our board. Tight race there with USF, but I think we should pull it out. So we have a visit with him. We'll just go another 10 maybe. And hopefully that is enough to outbid the Bulls there from South Florida. And I guess with that, we can go over to the transfer portal and see what we're working with. We'll just go any state here, see the big names that are in this year's portal. Takario Davis transferring from Arizona. We have 3 5-stars, so it starts with Davis here. And then we have Dante Corleone transferring from Cincinnati. And then we have Maxwell Hairston transferring away from Kentucky. Deontay Lawson from Alabama. Emory Jones Jr. from LSU. I feel like I've noticed him transfer away in the limited off seasons I've done in other dynasties. Matthew McDoom from Coastal Carolina. Darius Taylor from Minnesota. Very good back there. Looks like he's going to maybe go to Michigan. You like to see that. Jack Velling, Mario Williams out of Tulane. Just a few other names here. So at this point, we'll just go by position. And I mean, we do have a quarterback already. I don't think we're going to have much interest, honestly. If I were to go, on this overall board and just go to any state and then filter it by interest, I don't know how many names are going to pop up, but I'd rather just go position by position and kind of be a little surprised. And we do have a couple guys here. Brandon Nunez from New Mexico State, and then Ryan Rivers from Arkansas State. How many? We have 12 spots on our board right now. We could definitely remove some prospects and get more space, but for now, we'll just kind of leave it as is. Ashton Daniels, the top quarterback, transferring as he's going to be leaving Stanford. And like I said, we don't really need to worry about quarterback right now, but we do need a running back in a big, big way. And look at that, 63rd on the transfer portal board. Gavin Garcia out of Kent State. Definitely going to add him to the board. We also, we have more than I thought. Cam Edwards from UConn and Cedric Alexander from Vanderbilt. So we have 3 transfer portal running backs right now that we're going to be pursuing. And like we said earlier, Darius Taylor transferring away from Minnesota. Jalen White, Jamal Haynes, some other notable guys here. And we have more down. We have a lot. I mean, they must be going for playing time because our backfield is very, very thin. And honestly, I think we might just go. Wow, we have a lot of guys here that we can add to the board. Let's just sort it by interest here. And typically, I wouldn't really take you through the whole deep dive here, my whole thought process. But I figured for the first offseason, it was kind of necessary. So I wish we had something to work with when it goes to skills, just to give us a idea. I mean, we do have tendency. All these guys look like they're elusive backs, which doesn't really help things at all. Literally every single one of these guys has that elusive back tendency. But we needed 2 running backs already, and we got none. So hopefully we can bring in 2 of these guys. I guess we'll add Darion Treich to the board. Jarvis Green as well. And he's a freshman. Sophomore, freshman up there. Sophomore, junior, and junior. So, I mean, ideally you want the underclassmen if you can, but beggars, which we certainly are at this point, cannot be choosers. So I think we'll just kind of go right back to our recruiting board, scout these guys. And now looking back, maybe I should have put points into running back recruiting to make this a little bit easier. I don't want to really burn too many points here with scouting, but we do need to decipher, what guys we want to pour a little more into. I mean, Gavin Garcia was the first guy we saw. We'll just pour 10 in there. 81 spin, 91 agility, 91 speed. I mean, not a bad skill set. Okay, but we'll just do 2 scouting sessions for all these guys for now. 87 agility, 85 vision, 85 juke, 86 change of direction. Cedric Alexander, 88 agility, 89 speed. I mean, all these guys look to be pretty solid. it's really going to be hard to. I mean, we might as well just go ahead and scout all these guys. Why not? We're already here. Sorry, going a little quick now. So Garcia, the 95 acceleration with the 91 speed, agility, and change of direction is very nice. 84 juke, and the ball carrier vision, spin move, awareness, carrying, all there at 80 or 81. So I do like what I see there with Garcia. Edwards, kind of similar, maybe not as athletic as Garcia. Garcia faster, better agility, better change of direction. Although Edwards, he does have better vision, juke by a little bit, but Garcia has the edge with spin. So between these two, Garcia also has takeoff, 360 abilities. Edwards has no abilities. So I think between those two guys, Garcia would probably be who we go for. Go ahead and finish Alexander's scouting. 89 speed, 93 acceleration, 88 agility. And still, I think I prefer Garcia. So these last three are underclassmen. The top two are juniors. Go ahead and finish off Daryon Treich. 87 speed, 92 vision. Very good there. Definitely has the edge over all these guys in vision. But the juke, spin, break, tackle, really nothing to write home about. 87 agility. So I think I might like Treich a little bit more than these other guys. So I think maybe Garcia and Treich, and now we have Jarvis Green here, a freshman. 81 vision, 75 break tackle, 88 speed, 87 agility, 81 vision, 80 juke. So being that he's a freshman, I do like that. You know, he probably has some room to grow. But even with all that being said, I think Garcia is the guy I like the most. So we will just go ahead and offer him a scholarship. And like I've mentioned, you know, all these guys are pretty even. I think we'll go ahead and offer Treich as well. That 92 vision is very, very nice. You like that? I think we'll just leave it at that for now. And then go back to the transfer portal, look at some other positions. We're not going to really go out of what we need. I mean, we kind of need everything, but we do have like a specific list of needs, and we did need a wide receiver or two, which we do have kind of actively scouting. We have Sahara and Demetrius Boone, as we visited earlier, and really no one's interested anyway. Mario Williams, Matthew Golden from Texas, some of the top names here. Will Pauling from Wisconsin, Jalen Moss from Fresno State. Go over to tight end, and we have Jermichael Braham, who we're more than likely signing. Jamari Johnson from Louisville is interested. And I did say we might look at an upgrade if possible. Chris Stewart from Nebraska, I mean, second on his board. So I think we might just take a flyer on him. And Jamari Johnson as well, 6'5", 265 blocking tight end. I mean, might as well add him to the board as well. Now going over to offensive line, definitely could use some help there. We have some guys interested. So we have a lot more guys interested on the transfer portal than I expected. So I think we kind of got to go back to our board and make some room to add some new names. So anyone I want to rule out here? I don't really think so. I think we'll just leave those backs. Receivers, I don't think we're going to be going after George Gales. Does have decent speed, good spec catch, but we are fifth on his board. I don't even remember adding him, honestly, and he kind of fits that same profile as Monty Sahara. So I think we're just going to stick with Boone and Sahara as the guys we want to bring in this class. Only two guys on the whole board for offensive linemen, Andrews and Bowler. And then at D end, we do have Stevens. There's Troy Cloud here. Didn't even scout him at all, but he's probably more of a D tackle. I think we'll just take him off for now. Going over to linebackers. So we did want to bring in two. I think Fatini Kun and Michael Pettigrew are the ones we're looking at. But we also did offer James Marks during the season, I guess. Don't remember that. Only 55 zone. The speed at 80, not terrible, but he would like to bring in someone a little faster. I don't really know what he brings to the table. The pursuit isn't bad. Block shed could be a little bit better for a run-stopping linebacker. Not really athletic with that 74 agility, 80 speed. It looks like he might even be ready to commit. So it was a long season, obviously. I had that big hiatus where my equipment was all out of whack. I had to get some new stuff going here, new laptop, a whole new setup. And I don't remember a lot of what kind of developed over the season in recruiting, but Marks, I'd probably would rather not even sign. Looks like we offered Pete Ricci here as well. 85 speed, 69 zone. Definitely like him better than Marks. Marks is a good tackler, though. He does have that going for him. What about Chester here? Tyree Chester didn't even scout him. Looks like he's going to Buffalo. We'll take him off. And Hayden, yeah, we're just going to take him off as well. We have Shockey, who we're going to pursue there at corner. And these safeties, man, all of them are busts. All three of these guys at free safety bust. And we did offer all of them, though. I'm not quite sure what we did there. Emmanuel Payne. We did visit with him back in week 9. He looks like he's close to committing, but only 85 speed. Love the 84 hit power, though. Maybe a decent box safety type guy. But I don't really like any of these players, to be honest. And we're really the only schools who have offered them, so I don't really know what we were doing. It was definitely a learning experience, this year 1 season. So that gives us now 9 spots. We could add 9 more players. Kind of have to be a little selective, especially now we're going to go through offensive line. And we need a bunch of help on the offensive line. So Jacob Sexton out of Oklahoma will add to the board. Malachi Carney. And Jordan Davis. Both of these guys from South Alabama. Interesting development there. And then we'll kind of just... We have a bunch more guys down here, too, that are interested. But I don't want to overdo it on the board. Especially, we don't really have many points at our disposal to just be thrown around. Carter Sweezy, Johnny Dixon, some interior guys now at center. Have Matt Craycraft. I think we'll add him just because we're number 1 on his board. And then at guard, I think we'll add Sweezy. And we probably will just leave it at that for now. If we miss out, we could always come back and revisit, see if anyone is still kind of lingering around later, especially with offensive line. We are going to hit our quota, although, Andrews and Buller, I don't expect them to be the most talented, so that's kind of why I would branch out here in the transfer portal. At D-end, assuming we get Stevens, we do hit our quota there, but we did lose Tylon Dunlap, which opens a spot at D-end. And this guy, Isaiah Hastings, he's 290, though, so he's probably more of an interior guy, a DN there in a 3-4 scheme. But Deontay Anderson, a run stopper, 6'3", 260 out of Mississippi State. Derek Vincent Douglas from Alabama, add him as well. Jamario Yates, 6'7", 277 out of Georgia. And that leaves just one more spot on the board for now. We're good pretty much. We need just... maybe some DBs. We don't really need a D tackle, although, Aaron Bryant will add him, see what he can do. I'm pretty content with our linebackers. We have actually have no more room on our board. So this has been a lot more tedious than I expected. I don't know if we should at least remove one of these backs. So I think it really comes between Edwards and Alexander. I'm not sure who I like more. I think I like... really, I don't really have a preference. I guess we'll just remove both of them, honestly. Garcia and Streich are the guys we're going to actively pursue. We'll hold Jarvis Green back down there as well, just as some insurance. Receiver, we're good there. Tight end, I guess we could scout. I don't really want to prioritize tight end right now. We'll add these guys to the... We'll take Johnson off. He's 7th, or we're 7th on his board. That's not realistic. Like I said, I didn't really expect such a big interest from the guys in the transfer portal, but I'm assuming all these guys just want some playing time, and obviously we're a program that can give that to them. So even DN, Anger and Stevens are going to likely be our signings, so we don't really need to overdo it here. I guess we'll just scout some offensive linemen here, see if any of these guys stand out. So we have an 83 impact, only 72 pass block here from Malachi Carney. Jordan Davis looks decently balanced. The 73 pass block isn't the best. 91 strength, 85 impact. I mean, he looks pretty solid, but it's kind of hard, to tell until we have all these guys fully scouted. So I kind of feel like this is going to be a stage where we don't pour too many points into anybody, but just kind of get all our scouting underway. I don't know if that's the most efficient way to do it, though. I feel like we do have to kind of go in on these guys from the get-go if we want to get them to Kennesaw, Georgia. What about Matt Craycraft here? Has outside shield ability, 89 run block finesse, 74 pass block finesse, 79 impact, 76 pass block, 86 strength. I don't know. I feel like we're not really being efficient with our points right now, but I don't know. This is tough. I definitely want to remove some linebackers here, even if they end up committing. Like, we just got to remove Marks. We got to remove. I will leave Ricci. He had good speed, but we also have to get through DBs. We'll just go ahead and remove all these safeties, make room. Hopefully, we can get some guys on the transfer portal instead. Kind of shift our focus again back to the transfer portal. So we did get through D tackle. I kind of feel like I should add Hastings here just in case he turns out to be a decent guy that we could kind of kick inside. All right, now linebacker. I thought we maybe would have some interest here. Chandler Martin, they're the top guy as far as outside linebackers go. Going to be transferring from Memphis. Tyler Martin. That's funny. I have a friend, Tyler Martin. 6'2", 250 out of UMass. They actually end the season ranked. And he's kind of looking elsewhere. Another UMass linebacker. So their play style must be down, I would assume, to lead, two guys to transfer after such a maybe the best season of all time there for the Minutemen in their history, ending the season as a ranked team. Nolan Ziegler, 3-star out of Central Michigan, definitely will add him. And we'll add these other middle linebackers here. I feel like middle linebackers tend to be a little more skilled than the outside guys. We have some more guys down here interested, but we definitely have to get through corners and safeties. Who is the top guys up here? Tacario Davis, we talked about him, as well as Maxwell Hairston, Matthew McDoom, Jonquise Hardaway from Kentucky. And then we see Jericho Washington transferring from Kennesaw State, the 133 ranked prospect here in the transfer portal. So it looks like we really don't have any corners that are interested, which is fine. I mean, we have Biquette, Javon Malik, I believe his name was, and then the other one we just kind of discovered. Forget his name, though. So we have 3 corners right now we're kind of actively pursuing, but we definitely need some safeties. 5th on the board here of Tavian Combs from New Mexico. First here on the board of Nari Biggins. What strong safety. We have a couple guys here as well. So I think we'll add Brandon Hillman from Michigan. Tyrell Davis from Georgia Southern. He's 198 on the board. Combs 66. But yeah, I don't know how likely it is to get Combs. So I think we'll just go for guys that are a little more interested already at this point. We'll add 3-star Nari Biggins. And then we'll add 3-star here, Tyrell Davis. But yeah, I wish it gave you, like their 40 time, their squat, all that. There's no reason, I feel like, to keep that hidden. All that stuff is kind of public after high school. So I don't know why the game doesn't give us that to kind of work off of, kind of make it a little bit easier in recruiting. Not that it's easy, especially for a team like ours, but you think they would aid us a little bit in that sense. So really nothing, kind of redeeming from our program after 1 year in the FBS. It really comes down to just players buying into our playing style, buying into our playing style, really, and then just proximity to home are really the only 2 things we have going for us. Other than that, C for conference prestige is our highest, pitch, and then we have coach stability and campus lifestyle there at C-. So we'll go back to the board. We have 100 hours to work with. I apologize if this kind of initial stage took a little bit longer than it should have, but a lot of indifference, a lot of indecisiveness, a lot of inexperience, and a lot of players interested that I did not expect. But we definitely have to prioritize safety. So we'll go ahead and scout some of these guys. I mean, this guy coming from Michigan, Brandon Hillman, you would think he is a good football player. So instead of scouting, is it kind of just better to offer scholarships to these 3 guys and then, take your chances? I think we'll just go offer scholarships to all these guys to start. I think it does kind of pay jumping in early with an early scholarship offer. But I think at linebacker, we can maybe scout these guys a little bit. We have 85 hours. Also, there's Aaron Bryant. He looks to be a good player. I think we'll just go ahead and offer him a scholarship. The 7th D tackle in the transfer portal. And then we have a bunch of DNs here as well. So a lot of players. So we already offered the running backs we were going to offer. We're not really going to look at Chris Stewart here at tight end quite yet. So we do have Davis fully scouted. Might as well just go ahead and fully scout these other guys. Maybe 85 pass block finesse, 72 pass block, 83 impact, 96 strength for Sexton with 88 run block power, 80 pass block power, 75 run block, 73 pass block. And he has strong grip and inside shield. So we're actually going to go ahead and offer Sexton. He looks to be a good lineman, a little bit better than these other guys. I mean, all these guys really are better than what we're currently working with. And now Matt Craycraft. I don't know if he's really necessary at this stage. And I did want to scout some of these DNs as well. So we end up, I think linebacker, we kind of have to prioritize a little bit more. A couple stages there on Nolan Ziegler, 89 tackle, 83 pursuit. Good zone for more of a run-stopping linebacker with 80 speed, 80 strength. And now we only have 35 points. So I think we're actually going to take some off. We're going to just take this off of Pettigrew. I think we'll take this off of Taj Fat and go elsewhere and distribute those with the other linebackers. Because, I mean, you would think Pettigrew and Fatinikun are automatic signings at this point, but I can't see, Duke actually, same top 5 schools, actually same top 9 or same top 8. Interesting for those guys. You wouldn't expect any of the Duke really or Southern Alabama to jump us at this point, so I think we could just use those points elsewhere. So it's kind of the final run through here in the first stage. Definitely have to pour some here for Garcia. Go 25 for him for now. Treich, just go 10. We're already first. We offered him. We'll just go 10 here for Sahara. I think Boone, he's already a little bit higher committed, but he's only in his top 5. Sahara's in his top 3, so we'll just go 10 for each of them. Jermichael Burhan, we're just going to pull off him completely. I wouldn't be, upset if we missed out on him. Like I said, really nothing special. Just kind of get another body there in our tight end room. Andrews, I think we'll keep him at 10 just to ensure we get a lineman in this class. We'll just pull off the 5 here from Bowler. So little by little, we are accumulating a little more points to work with. Sexton, I think we're going to have to make an honest effort for him. So we'll put 25 in for Jacob Sexton. Didn't even really bother scouting Sweezy yet. Craycraft isn't bad, but I don't know if I don't know. We'll go back to Craycraft. Stevens, I think we'll just do 5 instead of 10, which is us with 15 points now. I think DN we don't really need to worry about quite yet. Hopefully, out of these 4 guys, hopefully one of them is, kind of remains there towards the top of his board, even if we don't pour any points in going into the next week. Which brings us back to linebacker. But safety, we did offer all these guys, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. So we have 15 points left. Or I'm sorry, I guess hours, I should say. Malik, I guess we'll leave at 10. Shockey, we'll take 10 back. That gives us 25 hours. So I would like to get 5 back and then just kind of so we could do 10 for all those safeties. Instead of 10 for Boone, we'll just do 5. And I would love some feedback on this process. Definitely not perfect by any means. Might have took a little bit more time to do this, but of course have to kind of give it our due diligence. And even then, I still feel like I kind of rushed things here, but I don't want to take up too much time doing this because, overthinking is definitely an enemy. I could just sit here, overthink it, mess with all the recruiting over and over, but we'll kind of rearrange the board next time out. I guess I'll throw Garcia up here and along with the other running back just for now until we advance, and hopefully we get some commits of our old guys we're already pursuing, like Stephon Andrews, Kurt Bowler, Marquez Stevens. But it would be nice if some of these new guys, if we kind of rose up their boards or kind of stayed where we were at. So no more hours to work with here in the initial stage. I just want to make sure it all saved, go back into it, make sure we're all good. This way we don't advance. And then we have, turns out we didn't even save our progress there, which took quite some time to do. So going now to week 2 of recruiting, let's hope for some good news. So no commitments yet. Bowler will still number 1. Darion Treich, who we did, I hate how it just automatically does that when you're looking at the recruiting update. It goes over to my school update. It shouldn't pop up separately. It should just be one that you can just bounce back and forth between. You're looking at the recruiting update, and then my school update pops up. So we did fall on Treich's board, and Javon Malik goes to USF. I thought we were going to be able to get him. Turns out we were too stingy. We even had a visit with him, and maybe that deterred him. Maybe he's like, I'm not leaving Florida. Definitely not for Kennesaw, Georgia. So we miss out on Javon Malik, but luckily now with Zeke Shockey, we're kind of pulling away with him. USF actually number 2 in his recruitment right now. Wow, kind of bummed we missed out on Malik. Thought he could at least either if we didn't play him on the perimeter as a starting corner, would work very well as a free safety, but that is not going to be the case. So Zeke Shockey, we're number 1 on him right now. Carmicah Glass, we didn't even offer anything. Same here with Malachi Carney. Jacob Sexton, we stay at 2, kind of battling with Oklahoma State and Northwestern, a couple of Power 4 schools there. Jarvis Green, we drop out of his top 5. We didn't put any points into him. And Treich, I'm surprised. I mean, what was it, 10 hours and a scholarship, but other teams kind of pulling away there. And this did not go as well as I was hoping. So really not much updates there. We had a few players, of course, who are kind of moving. Javon Malik, we've missed out on so many guys this season that we thought were ours, and they just end up committing elsewhere. So Treich here, we're definitely dropping on his board, obviously. But I wonder if that would change if we were to pour more points. Liberty, we got to pour more here for Garcia. 25 is not going to do it. At this point, now that scouting is mostly done, now is when we could be super aggressive with our hours distribution. So we're going to go 50 right here on Garcia. I'm not quite sure on Treich yet. At least we know, playing style is important to him. So hopefully with that visit this week, that will put us up the board a bit. And we'll just go 25. Zeke Shockey, we're up to number 1 on his board. But, the Bulls are under us. We don't feel safe. We'll do another 10. Stephon Andrews. Kurt Bowler here at guard is getting a little more interest. We didn't do any points, so I think we got to be a little bit more aggressive with him this week. We can't just put it at 0. Bump it up to 15. Even Andrews will pump up another 5. Marquez Stevens is getting a little bit closer or almost there with him. So instead of 5, we'll double that. And we won't give it to the next person. We will give it to Marquez Stevens. Monty Sahara here at 10 really didn't get any progress over the past week. We're up to 25 for him. Try to make this one a little bit shorter, a little bit sweeter. Now we have Taj Fat. Going to have to pour some points into him. Also can schedule a visit with him as well, so we'll get that out of the way. Let's do proximity to home. And then we'll give him a 10-piece. Jermichael Braham. I'm still kind of, we don't even really need to worry about him quite yet. Demetrius Boone, very close. We'll just leave him at 5. Michael Pettigrew will leave empty for now. And then we'll work our way back position-wise. So running back, we got to go a little bit more aggressive here with Jarvis Green. Especially Treich, we're falling down his board. And Gavin Garcia is going to be a very tough recruitment. Hopefully, pouring in the full 50 this week will kind of give us some traction against Liberty. So I think with Treich, we might even have to bump that up even more than 25. I think we'll double that as well. Green kind of just getting our feet wet with, and we actually could visit him. Playing style, and I'll do 25 for him. So pouring a lot of resources here into running back, and just like that, only 105 hours left to work with. We're not going to really worry about tight end. Offensive tackle we kind of already fixed, at least for Andrews. But Sexton, he's another guy I think we're going to have to go full 50 on. he kind of has emerged as a priority for us. Although we still have to go back to safety and give those guys max hours as well. So I think I kind of was a little overzealous. I always kind of forget about safeties being that they're like the last position you look at. Well, this looks pretty standard, pretty good so far. Linebackers, really not much action. A couple of these guys have gotten offers. So Nari Biggins, and we haven't even scouted any of these safeties. And we actually fell on Davis's board. But we went up on Hillman and we went up on Biggins. So I think at this point we'll just abandon Davis. Although it looks like we're not too far behind Middle Tennessee State, but we don't have the resources to, go after so many players. I think we just got to pick a couple at our positions of need and kind of go all in on them. So we had 100 left. We'll just go a full 50 with Biggins and Hillman here. Still unscouted, so a little bit risky, but they're kind of high up the board. I would expect them to be decent players, although they both are run support, which I don't like, but in our 4-2-5 scheme, you can never have too many safeties. So that only leaves us with 10 points, and we were pretty much caught up. Bowler, I don't like putting 15 into Kurt Bowler. I don't think he's going to be that great of a player, but USF, we don't want them stealing another player that we're kind of on cruise control for. DN, we really don't have to worry. I mean, none of these guys, only Yates has gotten an offer, but otherwise, everyone else kind of dormant. Bryant, I am tempted to just throw the last 10 on him. I think he's going to be a good player, but I think we have more pressing needs. Kind of wasted the scouting here on Ziegler. Looks like Toledo's pulling away with him. And we're just going to go Bryant here, kind of strengthen our interior. Haven't scouted him either, but I just have a feeling he's going to be pretty good. So I think we could kind of rearrange our board now. We'll just go by position, not by priority. So we got the running backs, the tight end. I didn't even realize Braham was an athlete tight end. I wonder where else he would play. Maybe linebacker. At the DN, Steven Sahara, the JUCO receiver. Probably could take some out of him as well. We'll take 10 away from Sahara, just put him back to 15. Taj Fat, linebacker. Demetrius Boone, a wide receiver. Pettigrew, another linebacker who we still have at 0 for now. Jarvis Green. We do have him on a visit this week. Otherwise, I would say we'll pull that last 10 into him. But I'm hoping we get a good swing up the board after visiting. Sexton, he's kind of emerged as one of our priorities. I think he would be a starter right away. Of course, that's what he would be wanting as a JUCO tackle coming to a low-tier program, to put it lightly. I have Aaron Bryant at D tackle. And then we have the safeties here. Hillman from Michigan. And then Biggins. Forget where he's from, though. So we do have 10 more hours. I think we'll actually do 5 more for Bryant and 5 more for Jarvis Green here. And then we'll advance another week. And like I said, last phase of this, I would love some constructive criticism, any tips, any feedback on my recruitment process, how you do yours, and if what you do works for you. So Treich has knocked us out, even though we poured in more points. And that's what I'm talking about. It just automatically goes over to my school update. But Treich knocks us out. Maybe I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Maybe that's why he's not too keen on Kennesaw. Gavin Garcia, we are number 1 now, as we have surpassed Liberty. Like to see that. Brandon Hillman still number 1. Nari Biggins still number 1. We're dropping here for Pete Ricci, but we haven't really been active in his recruitment. So still no new commitments. So, with only 2 weeks left in recruiting, we have just 4 commits in this inaugural FBS class for Kennesaw. So Garcia looks pretty good. We can schedule our visit with him. And it's actually, I think we'll wait just because we want to get that playing time or playing style uncovered. We don't know which one is his interest, so we'll hold off 1 more week and hopefully that gets uncovered. South Carolina kind of running away with Jarvis Green, but we'll go the full 50 for him and see if we can make up any more ground here. He does like playing style and proximity to home. Should we go hard sell on him instead? I think that might be a little bit better. Can we do playing style, proximity to home, and playing time? So far, no. I don't know if we could. There we go. So hopefully playing time is another level of interest, but we have that playing style, proximity to home at A. I think that might be good. Add on 10. Sahara, this is like just dragging his recruitment. We even bumped it up to 15 still. Not where we need to be. Boone, same thing. Do we want to burn 40 points to visit with Boone right now? I don't think we can justify that quite yet. Sexton, we're still behind Oklahoma State, but we can visit with him. We'll do playing style. That's another 40 points. Kurt Bowler. Okay, so USF didn't really make up any ground on us, so I think we could take 5 away. Stephon Andrews, another guy like Sahara. Just these recruitments for some of these guys has just been painful, trying to get them interested enough to the point where they commit. Aaron Bryant, we now jump up number 1 on his board. Stevens looks like he's going to commit after this week, hopefully. Taj Fat, another guy. We're just going to go to 5 on Fat. And Stevens, still really no other schools emerging in their recruitment. So you would think we're going to coast, but you never know. Zeke Shockey, I think we could even bump him up a little bit as well. Was there anyone else down here? I mean, Davis, he's still right there. I mean, we haven't been pouring points into him, but Middle Tennessee State hasn't really done anything either. So I think at this point we can maybe scout the remaining guys here. Bryant, I'd rather scout the safeties actually and see what we're working with skill set wise. So 78 zone, 91 acceleration, 82 hit power, 88 speed, 75 play rec, 78 zone, 74 man. Hillman looks to be a very solid player. What about Biggins? 85 speed. You don't really like that. 78 zone, 74 man, 84 hit power. So looks like Hillman definitely is the better player between Hillman and Biggins. We have Tyrell Davis down here as well. Only 86 speed, 69 man, 84 hit power. So I don't think he's much better than Biggins. I don't know. Biggins doesn't look too great. Does have decent man, I guess, compared to Davis. Go up and scout Bryant a little bit. 85 block shed, 88 tackle, 79 pursuit, 89 strength, 85 block shed. I think I already said that. So Bryant looks to be a pretty good player. Still 65 hours left. Any of these guys, like not even close. So we're kind of dropping here for Jordan Davis. We'll take him off. Craig Kraft, we might be able to get in on him against Texas State. Sweezy, Navy, Army leading the way for him. So it looks like he's going to go to a service academy. There were some other DNs, linebackers. Ziegler, we're way down on his board. We'll just take him off. We're still number 1 here on J.D. Stewart. And number 3 here for Glass. Let's check out Stewart. Only 58 awareness. 80 zone, 73 block shed, 75 strength, 78 speed, 87 tackle, 83 pursuit. So Stewart's not bad. I mean, we are still number 1 for him. I also wanted to check out Yates as well, though. 92 strength. What's his speed? 69 speed. Someone who could maybe play on the interior as well with 6'7", 277. So a couple of late guys here we might try to pursue. Yates and Stewart. I kind of like Yates a little bit more. Looks like he has a pretty dynamic skill set. We'll go ahead and offer him. And we'll just offer Craycraft as well just to see how it goes for him. We'll just offer Chris Stewart as well. Just offer some of these guys we haven't really even scouted, just to kind of bring in more bodies at those positions. So I think this is one more week, and then we'll see how it goes. So still, we have not gotten another commitment as Jarvis Green there stays in state with South Carolina. Zeke Shockey, we're still number 1 on him. Still number 1 here for Aaron Bryant. Carmicah Glass, we're not really pursuing him. Jacob Sexton, we have now jumped Oklahoma State, and Gavin Garcia kind of pulling away for him. So, to my knowledge, this is not like NCAA 14 where some players would just go unsigned. So, we're number 1 for a bunch of, maybe like a dozen of these players. So, I'm assuming that, after this week, all the players that were number 1 for just end up committing to Kennesaw State. But I could absolutely be blindsided on that one. And now, deal breaker here with Stewart. All of a sudden, we offered him, but now we're in deal breaker territory there, so we can't even pursue him even if we wanted to. Then Yates, Vanderbilt kind of pulled away for him. So this is the last phase, and we could schedule. Who needs a visit? A lot of these guys still need visits. Visit Bryant. Then we'll get him in for playing style. We'll visit with Garcia, as we said. And it turns out playing style is what he has for A. Demetrius Boone, Jermichael Braham, Monty Sahara. These guys still have not committed after this long process, but no one else is even challenging us. So, like I said, I don't think this is like NCAA 14 where sometimes players wouldn't even commit. I think we get them regardless. Still looking for Sexton. And we're already maxed out, obviously, with the 50 points. Bowler. Jacksonville State now jumps up over USF. Stephon Andrews still uncommitted. Aaron Bryant, we could probably go max on him for now. Or I guess not for now, but for final, as this is the final week. Should we do hard sell? No, it doesn't look like it really makes sense, as he had an F, I think, on one of D plus there for pro potential. One of his interests. Stevens looks like he's definitely going to commit. Fatini Kun, you would think. Did we even really talk about Pettigrew at all? 79 tackle, 75 pursuit, 86 speed with decent zone, decent block shed. So I do actually like Pettigrew. And I think we'll get a visit in with him just to make sure. Even if we don't pour points. Shockey, we didn't really make up much ground over this offseason recruiting, but looks to be a stud. We actually have to visit with him. Maybe that's what we're waiting for. And proximity to home at B is our highest. And we do have to visit with Biggins and Hillman, so we actually have to free up some points here. I mean, 5 points for Stevens is not going to do anything for us at this point, nor will it with Taj Fat. So we'll take those back. That gives us a visit with Hillman and Biggins. Actually, I don't even know if we can't even visit with Hillman. Wow, I didn't realize you could only schedule 4 players for a visit. So we're actually not even going to be able to schedule a visit with anyone else. It looks like all these other players kind of just a lost cause to jump into their recruitment at this stage. Maybe not J.D. Stewart, though. So I'll just go ahead and offer him a scholarship. Why not? Everyone gets a scholarship at this stage. So that gives us 3 linebackers. So have 35 hours. Garcia, looks like we're not going to get more than 1 running back in this class, but Garcia looks to be a very good back, so I'll be happy with that. Kind of split time with him and Gabriel Benyard in the backfield, and Benyard could maybe focus more on his slot duties. And same with Sahara. Like, Sahara Boone, like, it's either they're committing to Kennesaw State or they're playing football nowhere, so I'm kind of tempted to just take the points off of them and distribute them elsewhere, but it's like, where else do we even want to distribute points? We'll max out Shockey here. And, hopefully this goes well. I mean, imagine just none of these guys end up committing to Kennesaw State, even though they all pretty much seem like done deals at this point. I guess we'll just 10 more to scout Davis. And I do kind of want to just go back to Davis and put maybe points into him as well. So Andrews will just take the 10 off. And the guys we're taking points off are just guys we were kind of pursuing all season, and they just have not committed yet. Elusive Heart at 5. Boone will take the 5 all. I'm so dumbfounded at how to really approach all this. Who did we want to... Did I want to max out Stewart? Why not? I guess we go to 40 for him, and I think that's going to do it. I mean, my brain is kind of fried at this point. Next season, of course, I'll have a better strategy, a better approach to everything. But this year one offseason kind of just threw me for a loop, especially starting with all those transfers. And of course, we'll review that after this stage. But all those players transferring away, I thought some of these guys we were pursuing all season would hit, would commit in the first stage or after the first stage. And here we are about to enter the final, not even enter the final stage. We're already in the final stage of recruiting and still only 4 commits on our entire class. But that's how we're going to end it. We're going to advance to the final stage here of off-season recruiting and see how it goes. So we got Marquez Stevens at D end out of Louisville, Georgia. Going to stay in state, joins Anger there as 2 D ends in this class. We got Brandon Hillman, the Michigan transfer, who might be a starter from day one there at safety in our 4-2-5. We got Nari Biggins out of Hillside, New Jersey, another transfer at safety. We got J.D. Stewart, kind of just emerged, in our last-ditch effort there in our recruiting class, and he transfers over. We get him out of Greenwood, Mississippi, and that is it. Gavin Garcia, it didn't show a graphic for him, that running back or that offensive tackle. So Malachi Carney, we knew we weren't getting. Same here with Jamario Yates. Jacob Sexton goes to Oklahoma State. So he flipped back to the Cowboys there in the last week there. I thought we were going to get Sexton. So it doesn't even show wide receivers, Demetrius Boone, Monty Sahara. It doesn't show Jermichael Braham. It doesn't show Stephon Andrews or Kurt Bowler, those offensive linemen. It doesn't show Aaron Bryant, that D tackle. So a bunch of names missing here. So I'm really curious to see if we ended up with them or not, or if anyone. Okay, so we do get Gavin Garcia. We get Monty Sahara. We get Demetrius Boone, Jermichael Braham, Jacob Sexton. We just miss out on. He would have been a day one starter on the O-line. We'll take him off. We get Kurt Bowler, Stephon Andrews. Aaron Bryant transfers over. Marquez Stevens, as we saw. Taj Fatt, Michael Pettigrew, J.D. Stewart, 3 linebackers here. Zeke Shockey comes in with Brandon Hillman, Nari Biggins. And then the original 4 here, Devon Stanzi, Tyler Anger, Rudy Teray, and Steve Biquette. We also get Chris Stewart here, that tight end. We didn't even scout him. We didn't pour points into him. But he ends up committing to Kennesaw State to bring a little more depth there at tight end. So an interesting development there. We'll take these other guys here off the board. So yeah, we see a few guys here who didn't even commit. But they are transfers. So does that mean they just stayed at their school? Let's go down the transfer portal list real quick before we get an in-depth look at our finalized recruiting class. So Takario Davis, the number 1 transfer portal recruit. Dante Corleone to Notre Dame from Cincinnati. Maxwell Hairston goes to Penn State. Deontay Lawson to Tulane. Emory Jones Jr. to Texas State. Matthew McDoom to Georgia. Darius Taylor does go to Michigan. Jack Belling to Oregon. Mario Williams to Alabama. Jeremiah Cooper to Texas. And we won't go too crazy here. Ashton Daniels, the top quarterback, goes to South Alabama. The top running back, we saw Taylor to Michigan. Jalen White to Georgia Tech. Jamal Haynes to Auburn. And we see down here Gavin Garcia commits to Kennesaw State from Kent State. Go to receiver. We did see a couple guys already. We didn't get any transfer receivers. But we did get a transfer tight end. Chris Stewart from Nebraska. Offensive tackle. Almost had Jacob Sexton. He goes to Oklahoma State. I really just want to look for our players now. And I think they were all defensively. I think we did have... I guess we could just go to the overall board. I really just want to see where our guys transferred. And Jericho Washington will go to Eastern Michigan. Barron Hobson goes to Auburn. And see, we did have more guys. We had Tylon Dunlap, but it doesn't show him here. Does that mean he stayed with Kennesaw State. No, it does not. It just didn't show him there for some reason. So Jamar Rux stays in conference where he'll join the two in a row, Conference USA champs there in the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. Tylon Dunlap goes to App State. We lost out on a few recruits as they went with the Mountaineers instead. Linebacker, we had Barron Hobson, as we saw, go to Auburn. And then at corner, we had Jericho Washington and Terrence Curtis, both of them. They must be friends. They're both freshmen out of Atlanta, Georgia. They had to come in together. Maybe they joined Kennesaw State at the same time, and now they're going to go to Eastern Michigan together. Jericho Washington, he's going to be a MAC All-American over there. Very good freshman corner. I guess he was a redshirt freshman, but very talented nonetheless. And now Ethan O'Leary, he was a freshman. He transfers to Memphis. Cyrus Dansby goes to Boise State. So there's our transfers. And now we'll go back to the overall board and kind of go in depth and look at these players. So we will just start at the top here, and we're going to start with Devon Stanzi, none other than Stanzi, who was the first commitment in this dynasty, and we'll always remember him for that. 5'11", 211, an athlete, going to play quarterback, a scrambler, has 85 throw power, a little bit, of a weak arm, but makes up for it with this athletic profile with that 86 speed, 91 acceleration. I wish we could see the agility, not visible quite yet. 79 medium accuracy and throw on the run, 77 short, and he loved the 83 break sack. So Stanzi does have a chance of starting in year 2, his freshman season, but Davis Bryson started every game for us last year at quarterback, and we'll see how he kind of matures over the offseason. At running back, we brought in Gavin Garcia, who transfers over from Kent State. A very good season last year, 5'8", 187, 91 speed and agility, 95 acceleration, 91 change of direction with an 84 juke, 81 ball carrier vision and spin. Does have impact development, which Stanzi, going back up to him, he has impact development as well. So he's going to probably develop into a very good quarterback for us, someone that's going to probably be a little fun to play with. Looking forward to that. Garcia has a couple of abilities as well and looks to be a guy who can, maybe inherit the bulk of the carries that Michael Benefield left behind as he graduated. Monty Sahara, a gem, the only JUCO guy we signed. Of course, the transfers kind of being in a different grouping. So Sahara, loved that gem tag, physical receiver with good size, good speed, tremendous spec catch with the star development trait. Love to see that. A couple mental abilities with recoup as well. So Sahara is someone who could really emerge. Maybe not in his first season with a couple guys ahead of him, but I think for junior and senior campaigns from Sahara, he's going to be a big impact player for us. Also brought in Demetrius Boone, 6'3", 178, a deep threat with 88 speed, 92 acceleration. You probably would like him to be a little bit faster for a deep threat, someone who can stretch the field vertically. 72 catching and catching traffic, 76 deep route running. Only 63 release though. But he also has that star development trait, so I was kind of late to notice that. Did not expect that from Demetrius Boone. So we have 2 receivers now with star development, and then Garcia, he is going to be a senior, has impact as well as Stanzi. So very good start so far. And now we go to Jermichael Braham. He does have impact as well, so I'm really surprised. It looks like all these guys, for the most part, have impact development trait at least. But star there from Sahara and Demetrius Boone. But now Jermichael Braham, we did actually get 2 tight ends in this class. I was a little late to move Stewart up the board. We'll fix that. So we have Braham, who comes out of Georgia. Pretty much every recruit we were able to bring in is from Georgia, or we do have a few from Florida, but that does exclude the transfer portal guys. So impact development from Braham. I was not expecting that. Really nothing special. Looks like to be a decent, possession tight end, but not going to really offer much as a blocker. And I wish we could see his speed, but not yet visible. And Chris Stewart transfers over from Nebraska. Didn't record any stats last year there in Lincoln. 6'5", 256 blocking tight end. Just, offered him a scholarship on a whim. And he does end up coming over to Kennesaw State, another guy with impact development. But I'm pretty sure he'll be a senior along with Garcia, who both transferred over. Kurt Bowler, someone we kind of just dragged our feet with. But he also has impact development, has clear-headed under mentals. Very good pass blocker already, but the run blocking leaves a lot to be desired there at just 62 run block, 84 strength, which you'll take. Another guy out of Florida with 74 impact block. So we got Bowler and now Stephon Andrews as 2 offensive linemen in this year's class. And Andrews, the only player so far with normal dev. Another very good pass blocker, but a lot of deficiencies as a run blocker. 2 3-star. Every player we brought in, whether it was on the prospect list or transfer portal, they all ended up at 3 stars. So 19 3-stars is the haul from this year's recruiting class, 15 of which signed here on National Signing Day. Aaron Bryant comes over from Texas after, he never appeared in a game with the Longhorns, and we'll certainly take that. 85 block shed, 89 strength with 88 tackle. Going to be a force there on the interior against the run. Looks like he really won't offer much as a pass rusher, although we don't really see any of those traits quite yet. And another guy with impact development, going to probably develop into a very good player for us there alongside Adam Watkins in year 2 of this dynasty. Marquez Stevens, one of the D ends. We got to move Anger up as well. I forgot to. Looks like I bypassed a couple guys down here. Oh, another D tackle here. Rudy Teray, another gem out of Fairburn, Georgia, 6'4", 302. Someone we're probably going to play 4 games before giving him that red shirt, but someone I really am excited for with 88 strength, 68 block shed, 78 pursuit, 71 play rec, 77 hit power, has the natural and clear-headed under mentals, and another guy with impact dev, and you love that gem tag. We already kind of talked about Stevens here out of Louisville, Georgia, 84 strength with 79 speed, impact dev, recoup ability, and 2 mental abilities as well. Very good athlete at his size and brings some power and strength as well. So Stevens, and here we have Tyler Anger, gem DN prospect out of Deerfield Beach, Florida. Another guy with a gem tag, also an athlete, but we're going to play him at D end. And he also has that impact dev trait. So we're getting a bunch of impact guys, really, in all phases of our team so far. And you really love to see that. Starting this episode, it looks super bleak. Only 4 commitments at that point. We had, 5 or 6 players transfer away. But we did a really good job here in the final weeks here in recruiting of the offseason and turned it around in a big way. So 89 strength with 83 speed from Anger with that 6'5", 262 frame. Looks like he's going to be a very good, overall player. Does have some more of an athlete project at this point, although not too far away. Moving down the board, linebacker here, Tosh Fatinikun, Tosh Fat, as we've been referring to him. 90 acceleration, 84 speed, 68 zone, 89 agility. The block shed is not, pretty good at 75. The pursuit at 74 with good tackling. So he does have that bust tag, but he's going to be a normal dev. But I really like his athletic profile, and I think he's a guy with a really high floor who can maybe impact in his sophomore, maybe junior season. Michael Pettigrew, the second of 3 linebackers we brought in out of Sewanee, Georgia. I kind of like his profile as well with that 69 zone, 86 speed, 89 agility, 74 block shed, and he also has impact dev. I was not expecting all these impact development guys, but we'll certainly take it. A lot of these guys can probably be contributors, if not this season, coming up, then definitely the season that follows. J.D. Stewart, another guy kind of on a whim we just offered, and he ended up committing. 80 zone, probably the highest of any linebacker on this team with very good acceleration, decent speed, decent agility. Overall, pretty solid linebacker, but it shows him as a transfer junior, so I think that means he's going to be a senior for next season. Zeke Shockey kind of opened our offseason recruiting by pouring points into him, and we do land him at Opelika, Florida, 93 speed, 90 change of direction, 87 acceleration, 86 agility, so a very good athlete with 80 man coverage, 76 press already, and 71 catching, a couple mental abilities, and he does have that impact dev. So Shockey, probably someone, we'll definitely play him in at least 4 games, and then give him the red shirt, or maybe we just play him all year if he performs well in that limited sample size. We also have another corner here, Steve Biquette, and aside from transfers, Biquette was the highest rated player we brought in our inaugural recruiting class here. A slot tendency out of Jacksonville, Florida, 87 speed, 88 acceleration, agility, 89 change of direction, only 59 zone, 66 man. So the coverage trait's really not that great quite yet. Even though he's the highest we brought in, I kind of just want to redshirt him, but might give him that 4-game sample size and see how he performs there. Brandon Hillman, a transfer from Michigan. We actually do land a Wolverine here. 88 speed, 84 pursuit, 74 man, 82 hit power, 78 zone. And he does have that star development trait, and we'll have him for his junior and senior season. So Hillman, probably someone who's going to emerge as a leader there on the back end of our defense, especially with the departure of Jericho Washington to Eastern Michigan. Also brought in Nari Biggins, the New Jersey native. And his athletic profile does leave a little to be desired, but decent zone at 78. And we really need a good man as well. So a good balance there in coverage, especially for a run support tendency safety. Although really the speed is just his biggest knock. We'll just go ahead and remove all these guys. So I would love to hear what you think about our initial recruiting class. We made up a lot of ground there in the final stages. As you kind of saw throughout this episode, really dysfunctional, really no method to the madness, but we got it done somehow. Maybe could have done a little bit better, but we'll certainly take this haul here in year 1 of this dynasty. And I'm really looking forward to playing with these players, seeing them grow as we go on through this dynasty series. So we'll go at the overall classes here. Michigan at number 1, as they do get that running back from Minnesota on the transfer, Taylor. And it looks like they got the top quarterback in the class. Also a 5-star running back, a 5-star receiver, and a 5-star offensive lineman. Notre Dame, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. So the Buckeyes win the national championship, have the Heisman Trophy winner, and now they bring in a top 5 class there. Also Alabama, the runners-up this season, finish in the top 5. LSU, Texas, Penn State, Oregon, Miami, Arkansas. Really just going to look for any surprises here. I mean, pretty much everything kind of status quo. I mean, SMU at 29, ahead of some Power 4 schools. Wake Forest at 38. And here we see Kennesaw State at 51. So like I said, we have the 19 3-star commits. I think, what was it, maybe 5 transfers, 6 transfers we were able to bring in there via the transfer portal. So Kennesaw State, Josh Terry brings in a top, just almost a top 50 class here in recruiting here in year 1, just outside at 51. And I will certainly take that. Definitely happy with that result. And maybe we'll just kind of skim through the overall prospect board and just see like at positions who the top guys are, where they went. So as I said, Michigan does get the top quarterback. Sam Himmelman comes over from New York. And look at this, like the 3rd-rated quarterback says he didn't even commit anywhere. Number 7th on the overall board. The 3rd quarterback, Ty Bichelle, does not even commit anywhere. I thought they fixed that this year. Pat Stanford, New Brunswick, New Jersey, pretty close to where I'm at. Goes to the Buckeyes. Jabu Ajalari, what a great name that is. They're going to play for the Crimson Tide. And then we'll go to just kind of go down the board, or the list here pretty quick. Rashad Sowles, Notre Dame, top running back in this year's class. Michigan gets Taylor from Minnesota. They also get Javonte Hajwalahu. So good backfield there forming for the Wolverines. The top wide receiver, Dave Eldenkramp, goes to TCU. Mike Lukowski to Georgia. And then the usual suspects here at the top. The top tight end, Lamarcus Durant, goes to Alabama. Warren Watford to Oklahoma. Looks like it wasn't really a deep tight end class. At offensive tackle, Jared Roos to North Carolina. And how about Bill Belichick getting hired by the Tar Heels? Looks like the offensive tackle class was a little bit weaker as well. But we do have a 5-star offensive lineman here, Max Nunn. Left guard goes to Michigan. At center, Marlon Strong to Georgia. Stays in state. The number 2 overall player, Gordon Holiday, goes to Penn State. The number 6 overall player, Steve Carlos, goes to LSU. So a few 5-star pass rushers up here. Bernard Eddy to Notre Dame, and Hugh Little stays in state to play for the Sooners. At D tackle, Harvey Cleveland, the top overall prospect in this year's class, goes to Maryland. Obviously the highest rated player they've ever brought into the program. So Maryland, the Terps, grabbed the top rated prospect out of Buffalo, New York, 6'1", 340, Harvey Cleveland. going to play at Terrapin Station. Cal Sun to Ohio State, another 5-star. At outside linebacker, a few 5-stars here. Frederick Maffei goes to Oregon. Stan Silvestro to Washington. And Miguel Marciano to Miami. Middle linebacker, Joshua Hagan to Notre Dame. Dennis Felder to Alabama. Ben Sombrayo to LSU. A few more 5-stars there. Only one 5-star corner. Matt Cantrell goes to Alabama. Usual suspects up here. USC grabs 2 of the top 6 corners in the class. At free safety, Damian Conku to Texas, the only 5-star free safety. At strong safety, Arnold McCaskill to Virginia Tech. And if I recall correctly, the Hokies did make this year's playoff. What about athlete? 3 5-star athletes. Gerald Bickley, looks like he's a quarterback going to Oregon. Zaire Burgess, looks like he's a running back going to Mississippi State. And then Tavares Moffat, looks like to be a running back going to Arkansas. And now we are here at position changes, where we'll kind of get to skim down the roster for the first time and get a preview of what to expect going into next season. So only 4 players at 80 overall or better, 2 of which are running backs. Gavin Garcia, who of course comes over from Kent State. Gabriel Benyard, last year, our first team All-American, had, I think, I want to say 1,400 yards from scrimmage. Daniel Johnson going to be a leader on defense. Still another season of eligibility. So he and Donovan Westmoreland, who led our team with 7 sacks last year, they'll both carry into year 3, assuming they stay on campus. So I wish with athletes, I don't know why we don't get an opportunity to assign them positions. What's the point of them being athletes if they already have pre-designated spots on the roster, on the depth chart? So we don't even get to see Devon Stanzi quite yet. So our quarterback situation exactly the same. Davis Bryson got a lot more comfortable leading this team as we went along through the season. Might start as the starter in year 2, but Stanzi, I would expect him to be at least like a 67 overall or so, but we will see. Benyard, Gavin Garcia, let's take a look at his player card here. So impact, and he is a senior, so we're only going to have him for 1 year, his last year on at the college level. Quickness and elusiveness look very good. And let's look at his stats from last year. So at Kent State, 151 carries, 654 for 6 touchdowns, a long of 48. And he had 28 catches out of the backfield, another score. So someone who can contribute, catching passes out of the backfield. And he's going to split time, with Gabriel Benyard. And we're going to try and get DJ Scott incorporated a little bit more as our lead power back. At wide receiver, Christian Moss, of course, going to still be the top guy, the Kennesaw native. And our top 4 receivers right here, all seniors. So we're going to see huge turnover in the receiver room going into year 3. And we see Monty Sahara comes in at a 68 overall. And I wish we could view player cards here for incoming players that, I guess we can for transfers, but we can't look at player cards for newly signed players that are new to college, to the college ranks, at least the FBS. Sahara, of course, coming from a JUCO. Also, Demetrius Boone, he has star development, but comes in at only a 63 overall. And very poor route running, just 57 in short, 76 in deep, though. So obviously a guy going to try and win over the top. And he does have 83 returning. I had kind of had a feeling he would be a good return man at tight end. Chris Stewart, a 71 overall. Looks to be a little bit better than Carson Kent, although Kent does have 90 strength, 80 awareness, better catching for the most part than Stewart. But Stewart looks to be a much better blocker. He has 70 run block, 71 finesse, 65 lead block. So Kent's definitely going to be our tight end 1, and then Stewart will contribute as our tight end 2, and maybe in the backfield at points as a blocking type fullback, although 6'5", 256, maybe a little bit big to throw out there in the backfield. But we'll see. Now, we are at position changes, so we kind of have to figure out the state of the offensive line. So Pennington, we will leave at left tackle. 4 out of the 5 spots on the offensive line are going to remain the same. Nate Wright, we actually moved over to center. And I don't know why it wasn't letting me change it. I feel like after you view a player card, it kind of glitches out, and you're not able to click on the players anymore. I don't know if anyone else deals with that issue. So we'll move him to center. The most intelligent, offensive lineman we have with high awareness. So Newman, we would expect to come back as a starter at left guard. I mean, we have a lot of guys here. We just don't have anyone that stands out above the rest. So Newman at left tackle. I guess Soser, we got to move over to right tackle. We have Christopher Kane here, a sophomore. We also have Stephon Andrews, who comes in at a 64 overall. Just going to redshirt Andrews. Probably going to cut these two guys here, May and Keynes. Kurt Bowler here at 66 overall. Higher than I expected on Bowler. I thought he was going to be kind of lower than Andrews, to be honest. But you love bringing in an offensive lineman who's already in the mid to high 60s. Zacchaeus Williams started at right guard, our highest rated interior lineman aside from right. I think Habeck will just leave as our backup center. So it really comes down to getting a guy at right tackle. I mean, Kane can definitely challenge for the spot, but Soser a little more experienced. I mean, I think he did start out as our starter at right tackle last year, but just committed a lot of penalties. We went with Jacob Kettles for a few games, a senior, but he is now gone. So I think Soser and Kane will battle for that right tackle spot. We'll redshirt Andrews. That leaves us with Kalari Gordon, who will take over for Williams when Williams graduates. So 72 at left guard. I mean, Gordon can maybe even start right away. Start this season. Maybe challenge Newman for that spot at left guard. I feel like we need to bring someone over to tackle. We'll have 5 tackles if we cut May and Keynes. Definitely going to cut Pettigrew here, just 61 overall, so I have 3 at both of those spots. We could probably cut more guys than we really need to, but I think we're set at offensive line. We'll just kind of let it play out, see what happens, and we'll just move on for now. DN, nothing new here. Westmoreland, hopefully you can kind of pick it up. Not pick it up, but just be a little more well-rounded next year. Kind of had a dry spell during the season, but still ended with 7 sacks. Miles going to assume most of the snaps there at right end. Here's Marquez Stevens. Comes in at a 68 overall. You like to see that. And they'll probably cut these other 2 DNs, 55 overall and then 51 overall. And we also have Anger, an athlete who we're going to put at DN. Also, Jermichael Braham at tight end. We didn't get to look at him. Because like I said earlier, we don't get to assign athletes at this stage for whatever reason. At D tackle, Aaron Bryant comes in at a 77 overall. You like to see that. So he and Watkins are going to make a very good pair there on the interior. Much improved from what we had last year. And then we have Rudy Teray, who comes in at a 68 overall. Gem, I think has that impact dev. 70 power move. 68 block shed, but more of a run stopper. And like I said earlier, probably going to have him play those 4 games and then give him the red shirt. And linebacker, Wandarion Silas. We have a bunch of guys. We don't have Taj Fat. He's not shown. And then we had another linebacker, Michael Pettigrew. He's not shown here either, which is kind of a drag. I really wish we could assign their positions at this point, because looking at it here, our linebackers look very, very thin. J.D. Stewart, we might just keep him at middle linebacker. I think we'll just keep it as is for now, even though we are going to cut a bunch of these guys. Hargrove, Franklin, both in the 50s, low 50s. Scarver in the low 50s. We're just really not going to do much with position changes this offseason. Still trying to kind of get our core into place, so we'll just hold off for now on all that, especially with some athletes who we have brought in. We don't really even get to mess around with them at this point. Now, safety, Sidney Porter was very good last year. I think led our team in tackles, if not was number 2 in tackles. Brandon Hillman, 79 overall. And he has good zone. I'm thinking, should we move one of these guys to corner? Zeke Shockey, didn't mention him, a freshman, 73 overall. The highest rated player from our initial class overall-wise. But Steve Biquette, going based on the national board, he was the highest rated player, comes in at a 66 overall. probably going to redshirt him. But Zeke Shockey, just week 1 of the offseason recruiting, he just kind of stood out. And they were able to bring him in 93 speed there on the perimeter, 94 speed from Tyler Hollum. Both of these guys better man corners. Really, everyone we have at corner is a better in man coverage than they are in zone, especially Zeke Shockey, only 56 zone, which is pretty worrisome. So I think next year we might be running a little bit more man coverage. But that doesn't answer my question. So do we move one of these guys to safety or to corner? Definitely wouldn't be Porter. Biggins does have 74 man, 78 zone, but 85 speed, so we really can't rely on him in a role like that. Hillman, 88 speed. Really none of these guys fast enough to play corners, so I think we just got to leave them all here at safety. We're going to cut these 2 guys here at safety, upperclassmen only at 55 overall each. Jam Warren. So can start 3 safeties, so I think it's going to be Porter, Hillman, Warren as our starting safeties. Nari Biggins. Let's look at his stats from last year. I forget where he came from. Central Michigan. 49 tackles and interception. 3 forced fumbles. We only had 1 forced fumble as a team last year. And he had 3 by himself. Transfers over for his senior season, so definitely got to get him on the field a little bit, although Isaac Paul played a little bit as a redshirt freshman, and he's not under Biggins too much overall-wise. I wish Paul was a guy we could maybe move over to corner, but doesn't have the coverage traits. So again, I think we might just stick with how it is and move on. Like I said, really not much we can do at this point. I think as we build this team, bring in our own guys, then we have a little more flexibility. But with that, we're going to advance. Kennesaw State finishes with the 51st ranked class here in year 1. And as I said before, I would really love your thoughts on the process, our players we brought in. I would just love to hear what you thought. I know that was kind of a lot. This is a longer episode, but I'll try and slim down the offseason episodes as we move along. So here we get big developments after training results. Danielius Johnson goes up to an 89 overall. But look at Quay Billingsley. He was the guy not even on my radar, really. Only normal dev, but he goes all the way up to an 82 overall. I want to say he was just like in the 60s. Best case scenario, he was like a 64 or 65. And he jumps up monumentally. I'm actually shocked right now. Quay Billingsley, a name I was not even familiar with. And he's now an 82 overall corner. Not the best speed at just 86. 99 change of direction. He has 93 carrying. But really no ball carrier traits. 77 catching. Looks like he's a guy who could maybe be a ball hawk there at corner for us. Wow, I'm really surprised at how much he progressed. So man coverage 85. Doesn't really have much room to grow though. Capped out in man coverage, capped out in zone coverage. Power does have a lot of room to grow, as well as quickness a little bit, but kind of reaching his peak already. But still, we'll take an 82 overall corner for 3 more seasons. No questions asked. Ben Yard still kind of around the same, along with Donovan Westmoreland. I think each of them either stayed the same or went up a point. Kind of similar with Nate Wright, Tyler Hollum, Adam Watkins, Gavin Garcia stays stagnant there at 80. So I guess the transfers, they don't see any progression. And Taiwan Christopher, who is this guy? All of a sudden, he's now a 79 overall. And he only has normal dev, too. And he still has a little bit room to grow as well. So Taiwan Christopher, Quay Billingsley, by far the biggest riser so far. And 2 guys who are not even on my radar as contributors going into next season. Now look at that. Kalari Gordon vying for a starting spot now at right guard as he jumps over Zacchaeus Williams. Very good progression there from Gordon. Still just normal dev. Already capped out as a run blocker. Has some work to do for pass blocking and power though. And now we'll kind of just go position by position. So Davis Bryson goes up 3 to a 65. Our other quarterbacks kind of stay the same. But still, we have not seen Devon Stanzi, Gavin Garcia, Quay Ashley, DJ Scott. So Ashley saw a nice jump. I think he goes up maybe 4 or 5 points. Receiver. So Bryce Dobson, I think I talked about him either last episode or the episode before as someone I was really excited about to see the development of him over the course of this dynasty. Does have that impact dev, route running, and hands still a little bit of room to grow, but elusiveness capped out, power. And he went up a good bit, probably like 10 points or so. Dobson, he's only a redshirt sophomore, so he's going to be an impact player for us not only this season, but in seasons to go. Ali Joyner, another guy, don't even know who that is, but looks like he climbed up the ranks here. Now 69 overall, Sahara and Boone down here. Boone probably going to get redshirted, even though he does have that star development. So Dobson, now the wide receiver 1. And you love to see that. Carson Kent goes up a few, 4 points, I think, to a 75. An integral piece on our offense. Pennington is 76. Trey Butts goes up to 75, just under Pennington there at left tackle. Left guard, we have Jarvis Adams, a redshirt freshman, goes up a good bit, now just under Ethan Newman. At center, Nate Wright up to an 81. And like I said, Gordon does surpass Williams here. So I think Gordon will probably make him a 4-year starter, ideally at least if all goes well. As he'll start as a redshirt freshman maybe. At right tackle, Soser and Kane, kind of neck and neck there. And a good progression here from May and Keynes. I mean, 2 guys we were thinking about cutting, but now they jump up. They get a good boost as well. Jackson Colvin, a 73 overall redshirt freshman. Probably going to find his way in the D-end rotation next season. At right end, see Ramonte Darty, someone I don't even remember his name either. He jumps up a good bit to 75, just under Jordan Miles. Marquez Stevens, probably a guy who will play for 4 games. Give him that red shirt. Watkins goes up to an 80. And another few guys down here. Jalen Jarrett, never heard of him, but he's up to a 75 now. Dylan Hannon up to a 74. And we have Jaden Grimes here at 65. So a lot of the players I thought were going to be cut candidates, or I guess in this game they call it encouraged to transfer. I thought those type of guys were kind of all but set, but a lot of them have seen very good growth during training results. So I'm kind of indifferent now on how we're going to approach that. Probably do need to clear up some roster spots, but Billingsley, just like that, now the top corner on this team, the 86 speed, though a little worrisome. Tyler Hollum, Javon Rogers jumps up a good bit as well, a redshirt freshman at corner. Played him for 4 games last year and does still have room to grow. Therese Hamilton, don't know him either. It's unreal. I thought I was pretty well-versed when it came to this roster, but apparently not. Nick Sawyer thought he was going to be slotted to be our starting slot corner, but he gets passed up by a lot of these guys. So the training results, the progression is very different in this game, obviously, than how it was in NCAA 14. And I kind of like it, In 14, it just made progression linear, and that's not how it is. Players, they can develop well, then they can regress. Some players progress way faster than others. Some cap out. Some have untapped potential. So I like how this game kind of addresses all those different variables and makes it a little more unpredictable. Taiwan Christopher, now a top-rated safety, along here with J.M. Warren, Brandon Hillman. So we have a lot of work to do when it comes to deciding who are going to be the starters on this roster. But then there's Johnson, 89 overall, as we can continue to advance here. And I think that will take us into the final stage of this offseason video. So we do have encouraged transfers. I guess we'll run through that real quick. So we do have to cut 7 players. And I think now we'll be able to see Stanzi. So we see Stanzi here, 66 overall. But we can't look at his player card yet. I think we'll just leave the quarterbacks for now. We'll cut Kenai Greer here, just 62 overall. Or encouraged to transfer, I guess we should say. And then we have a couple low-rated players here. Jalen Houston, and Dennis Sims. I think we'll just leave Alvin Alexander III for now. We are going to lose a bunch of receivers. We're going to lose 4 next year, so I don't want to overdo it. Redshirt sophomore here. Gatlin Hancock, only 69 speed. Just go ahead and cut him. And just like that, only 3 players left to cut. I think we'll leave all our offensive linemen. I mean, I'm sure some will transfer away. We'll just go ahead and cut. I don't know. Like, pedigree looks to be pretty solid, too. Not that we can really get all these players on the field, but if we don't need to cut them, why would we? So Donaldson here, just 60 overall. We'll get rid of him as well. D-tackle. I mean, Walker I thought was going to be our 3rd D-tackle, but we have some guys pass him up. And, you know, he's 5th on our depth chart now, or 6th, whatever it is. So it looks like he's not really going to get any playing time. 60 overall DN, don't need him. 57 overall linebacker. I'm kind of just buzzing through here. Didn't even look at Jermichael Braham. He comes in at a 66 overall. 82 speed. Faster than I was expecting. So that kind of makes up for his deficiencies as a blocker. And then we had Anger as well at right end. So Tyler Anger, 67 overall. Really neck and neck here with Stevens. And they're going to, I would assume, form a very good D-end tandem down the line. Now going to linebacker. Leave all these guys. So we had Taj Fatt comes in at a 67 overall. And Michael Pettigrew comes in at 66. Both very good athletes, especially compared to what we're working with on the rest of the roster. We're going to keep corners the same. Not going to cut anyone here. Usually I would cut Sawyer, but I mean, he was our slot guy last year. Didn't play terribly. So worst case, add some depth. We will cut Javen Williams here to 62 overall. And then we'll cut these safeties. Denarius Johnson and Suleiman Ba. And that will do it. So that leaves us with 4 open spots on the roster. And I think this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. It was a very, very long episode, but I really thank you for sticking around. As I said earlier, the offseason is by far my favorite aspect here in really any sports games. You know, if you've been following the channel, you know I'm just all about the team building process. And I'm glad we kind of got to dig into that here in this episode. But as I've reiterated throughout this episode, you know, just let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear how you approach the off seasons, how it can kind of compares and contrasts to how I did. But like I've mentioned a bunch, you know, I kind of just did it off the cuff, and we kind of rolled with what we had going. So as always, everybody, it's been real and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.